Most traders enter the game thinking it's all about pushing buttons and making money. But soon, reality sets in. Success in trading requires a lot more behind the scenes work, like backtesting, journaling, reviewing trades, and other unglamorous tasks that make all the difference. And that's where procrastination creeps in. Not in the trades, but in the routines that actually lead to long term success. In today's episode, we are unpacking why we delay the things we know we need to do and how to break through the resistance so you can finally take action. If you have been putting off the habits and tasks that could move your trading forward, this one is for you. You are listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. I am your host, Agnieszka Wood, a trading mindset coach and a seasoned day trader with over a decade of experience. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of psychology and the human element of trading. We take a deep dive into different perspectives to inspire you and help you navigate the emotional ups and downs of trading with self-compassion and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this podcast is your trusted companion providing support on your trading journey. Get ready to boost your confidence and unlock the secrets to mastering your mindset for success. Welcome to episode 57, How to Stop Procrastinating and Take Action. Hi, Greg. Welcome back. Great to have you back on the show.
Hi, Agnieszka. It is fantastic to be back. I honestly, the 2 episode hiatus that I had to take was needed, but super happy to be back for sure.
Very happy to have you back. We get a lot of good feedback from our listeners. They love to have you here and listening to our conversations. And today we have this topic that is very hot. And I have a lot of traders coming to me with that problem. And this is actually how I got inspired to do this episode. It seems that procrastination is a big problem. And today I would like to sort of shift the perspective because I think procrastination does not have to be something to fear or to avoid, or definitely not something to beat yourself up about. And instead, it can be approached with much more fresh perspective that is actually going to empower you to break free from that cycle of avoidance. Procrastination. I mean, it is actually nothing else than putting something forward, right? Like delaying things until tomorrow, saying to yourself, maybe I'll do it later.
It is. It can be so mundane and so simple and fleeting at times, but eventually that procrastination, when you start piling that up and piling it up and putting off more and more and more, life gets a whole lot heavier, a whole lot faster.
Right. And it could be something really small, right? Like this little task or little action point that you have, I don't know, ordering something from online or fixing
Yeah.
something at home, right? And you're like, oh my God, I still have to do this. I still have to. And before you know, it feels like this task is so big and now you need
Yeah.
like hours to do it, which is totally not the truth. It's just the experience.
100%. It's not even close to. Well, I mean, we should wait the caveat. The smaller things could be done quickly and easily, and the longer you let the bigger things pile up and you procrastinate on those are the ones that become, ooh, those become extremely heavy. But the smaller aspects, the quicker you can get them out of the way of your everyday life and how you choose to, go about your tasks or your projects or things that you want to accomplish, man, the quicker you get those done, the easier and lighter that the present feels so much more of your life. It's incredible.
Right. And a lot of tasks we can get away with, no, a lot of tasks we can do in a very short time and get off our list very quickly. Like I have, for example, that rule that if something takes less than 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, let me just do this. Like if it's
Hmm.
less than 2 minutes, let me just do this now. And that kind of became my habit. How
Yeah.
do you go about tasks that are just short, simple things?
Oh, I do this all the time. But this all started probably I'm going to say 5, maybe 5 years ago around there. And I started just saying to myself, just do the right thing. That's literally what I kept repeating to myself. Just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Because it all started with dishes, honestly. And when I had dishes in the sink, I would walk by and be like, God, I just should do the dishes. And then I'd be like, no, stop putting dishes in the sink. Just do the right thing. Clean the dish, clean the silverware, and put it in the dishwasher. Just do the right thing. And the more I kept repeating that to myself, the more I kept figuring out that my mindset was, it wasn't just dishes. It was, oh, I need to get up and make the bed. Now I make my bed every single morning. And when I get up, I literally repeat to myself, just do the right thing. And then I make my bed. And it takes a few minutes, maybe, to do it. So every time I get into a small little task or a task that I know is going to make me, forced to push me forward, I just repeat to myself, just do the right thing. Because you know what you have to do. You know it.
That is so interesting. When you do something like that, sometimes you create an extra handling to do. So it's like you split the task in two phases, so to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you already have that plate in your hand, let's say you just finished the dinner, right? Now you can put it in a sink, but then you have to take it out of the sink, put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And it's already split into two different tasks. So it costs you more time, right? You kind of, it's just like when you say, okay, I'm bringing something home and I will put it in the hallway instead of bringing it directly to the place where it belongs, right? So you kind of split it, and then you look at that box and you're like, oh, I still have to put this away. I still
Yep.
have to put this away. Yeah, but and if you would do it straight away instead of putting it
Didn't
in the
do it.
hallway, you would just literally make few steps more and bring it to where it belongs. This would never become actually a task to do. So we are also creating
Yep.
the tasks to put on our list.
You create so much more to do for your life, and because now you're taking up the mental capacity for you to be like, oh my God, Art, I need to take that box in. I know I should have done it last week, but I should have been able to do it. God, if I could just, I mean, now you're just spending mental energy, which you brilliantly talked about a few episodes ago. That capacity is just massive to be able to take that mental energy and just move it into a more deployable space. Like when you start trading and you are thinking about that box that you didn't pick up, now you're taken away from your trading, your platform, whatever you're choosing to do. If it's, whatever kind of trade you're trying to get into, you're thinking about something else and you're not present sitting there trying to trade because you put off what you need to do now. And that will easily create a whole bunch of less pressure and ability to concentrate on much more of your trading if you just do the right thing.
Right. There's one thing that I have as a rule that saves me a lot of time and also a lot of mental energy and a lot of effort is I have a rule that I always put things in the same place. And it's funny because I notice that other people not necessarily do it and they just keep looking for things. And I'm like, if you would have put this thing where it belongs, you would save yourself so much time and trouble, right?
Yeah.
And not just looking for something. And often it is the same thing you're looking for. But when you are changing places where you put things, then you have this extra time that you have to spend and think like, where did I put it? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I never have that problem. I can always find my things because I always, this is, okay, maybe I will make one exception, right? But on a regular basis, like usually, normally, I do put things in the same place. How about you?
I pretty much consistently am always have a space that I know that I can go and find something. Everybody has a junk drawer that they have in their house.
I just
Everybody's
wanted
got
to
one of
say,
those.
do you have a junk drawer? It's like you
Everybody,
can find anything there.
everybody's got it. That's the place where you're just like, ah, boy, I don't think I'm ever going to use this. Just put it in the junk drawer. When actuality, the right thing you should do is probably just get rid of it. But yeah, most of the time I have everything where it needs to be in the right location ish. Definitely not like, OCD and it needs to be, in the, that exact spot. But if it's like, I know that, it's third drawer down, or if it's in the closet, it's in the, the top part of the closet. And like that type of aspect where I just know that if I need to get something, I know where I can go get it and it will be in the location that I need to do, which honestly just makes your your searching efforts a whole lot easier. It makes life easier.
Totally. Okay, back to procrastination. The usual ways that I found, like when I listen to videos or people who are helping others to not procrastinate, the usual advice is around motivation. They say, well, if you're motivated
Mm-hmm.
enough and you really want
Mm-hmm.
something, then you should have no problem doing it. Well, I work with traders every day, and I still see that even though they want to achieve their goals really badly, that still they procrastinate. So I don't think that is like really effective advice. What do you think?
I agree wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. That advice to me is negligible, and I believe it's more detrimental than it is helpful. Because what you're doing is if you tell someone if you want something bad enough, you're going to go for it. So what you're telling that person is that if they don't go for it, now they're not motivated and they're a bad person. And both of those are just simply not true. So if someone does tell that to you, it's that there is way more to the background of that, because in order for you to be motivated to do something, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. All of those things can't be summoned in the matter of seconds, in a matter of, instantaneous. In order for you to become motivated, yes, you have to want to do something. Of course, you're not going to be motivated to go out and, pick up garbage. No, I mean, if you need to do it, yes, you can and have to, but it's not something that you want to
It's
go
like
out and
I
continue to
love
do.
picking up garbage.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. Now, if you are out there saying that, bravo to you. That's amazing. You're motivated to do it. But it's the activation energy that really comes along with figuring out how to take your thought process and moving it into action.
Can you talk a little bit more about the activation energy?
Yeah, sure. Activation energy is in the very quick glimpse of when you start to see something that you might want to do or something that you might want to move toward or be motivated to accomplish. You have a glimpse of what's called activation energy. And that activation energy is that thought process that comes in and says, I would like to blank. You fill that in. You have around 10 to 15 seconds where you have energy like built up and you're like, that is something I want to do. That is something that interests me. I would love to get toward that. What can I do to do that? If you can take from those 10 to 15 seconds that you have and it sparks and do one simple action to move that into an area of where you're now working towards something, that's one of the most strongest ways to build motivation, because you're going to have tons of different thoughts and glimpses of what you can and can't do. But that activation energy is going to be like, yes, I want to do that. I can't wait to do that. What can I do? You have a very short period of time. So once you feel it, take the step that you can. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be massive. It just needs to be, maybe I'll open up that book and I'll start reading a page. Maybe I'll listen to Agnieszka's and our podcast. Maybe I will, open up a paper trading account and I'll start the process just filling in my name. That activation energy, when you move it into action, becomes one of the strongest ways that you'll build confidence and motivation to figure out what it is you truly want to do. Because motivation will come and go all the time in ebbs and flows. But if you can figure out what it is to keep you going, that will be one of the most important factors for you to delay your procrastination and start building your confidence and motivation.
That's so good. Delaying procrastination. So delaying to
Yeah.
delay, which is so
Yep.
good. And you know that is so true that when we give ourselves a chance, it's this moment, too long moment to think about something without the action, most likely we will talk ourselves out of it. We'll say
Mm-hmm.
to ourselves, what a stupid idea. Oh, I probably cannot do it anyway. Well, I'm not going to succeed in it anyway. So what's the point? And
Yeah.
all that kind of dialogue is going to come in between and will kill even the best ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is just take one action to show yourself and to prove it to yourself that you are actually already starting on this initiative. And that
Mm-hmm.
goes in line with what I think is much more effective approach to procrastination, instead of relying on motivation that, as you said, comes and goes, is focusing on the commitment. So to commit to beginning, just to start the task. And I call it a 10-minute rule. Just instead of thinking, oh my God, I have to accomplish this task, and like seeing it, if I begin, I have to do the whole thing, because that is why we often procrastinate, right? You see this pile of work in front of you and you're like, oh, not now. But if you take just 10 minutes and say, I'm going to just begin, as you say, just open an account, just open a book and maybe just read one page. You are already in that process and you feel good about yourself, like, oh, I started. And what you will find out is that when you do the 10 minutes, usually it becomes 20 minutes, becomes 30 minutes, because the procrastination isn't about doing the whole task. It's about starting on a task.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you start, you create the momentum. And you also have, like, when you have that thought, I want to do something, you have about 17 seconds for the next thought to come. So by creating that momentum, and that aligns really beautifully with what you said, you have the time to actually give yourself a chance to attract another thought that is in line with your idea. So if you say, okay, I want to do this, and this is going to be great. When I finish this task, eventually, this is going to give me so much more insight. Let's talk about trading, right? That if I do back testing, I don't have to backtest my whole year, because obviously this is going to take a long time. Let me just backtest the trades from yesterday. And when I have insight to that, this will automatically motivate you to look at the next day and then the next day. And before you know, you have evaluated maybe 3 months, right? So instead of having that pile of work in front of you, just keeping the thoughts in the direction of where you want to go, in the direction of your goals, will help you create that momentum. So more commitment than motivation, right? Relying on that.
100%. Because the only reason that you look at a mountain of things to do is because you have procrastinated enough to build that mountain. And the less you do that, those mountains turn into molehills.
Absolutely.
And it's a whole lot easier to get things done and to get to where you want to be, which is, all of us want to be successful at trading. That's just, it's not we all don't go into this hoping that we all lose a ton of money. We all go into this hoping that we will find a way to become successful at what we do. And the longer that you can keep yourself in that motivational aspect of continually putting action toward it, you'll find yourself looking at molehills rather than mountains.
And that's a very good example, what you brought up, because being successful, a lot of times it's viewed as a moment in time somewhere in the future. But being successful is actually a skill, in my opinion. It's not something that just happens or it's a result. No, for me, it's a skill that you build every single day. So if you do the right things, you are a step closer to being successful. So,
agreed.
But people procrastinate to do the right things because they feel like, oh, I have to do all these things and then I can become successful. And now it becomes this humongous task again before you actually see the results, which in trading is absolutely not true.
100% not true. It's just, it isn't. And I know some of us, in the beginning felt that way too. But once you start to continually build your process and create that energy and motivation to do the next steps, you really start to realize that your success is only built in the moments that you're literally trading, and then after, how you follow up with everything that you do. So when you follow up with your trade and you go through your journal and you go and backtest and you go look at what you've done, that is all part of the success journey. You instigating the trade, whether it's a short or long or whatever it is that you're trying to do, that's part of your success. Exiting the strategy at the right time is part of your success. The reviewing what you did is part of your success. All of that is success. But the longer that you procrastinate with putting it into action, the more success becomes just this massive thing that is almost unobtainable at times. But yeah, make it minute. Just don't make it huge. Just make it little minute tasks.
A lot of times I get the question, so how often should I review my trades? And this is where actually the problem starts, right? Because it depends. How much time do you want to spend on it and how easy you want to make it for yourself? Because if you have just one or two trades to review, you can get it done so quickly you won't even notice. And the procrastination is not going to even play a role. But if you wait the whole month and then you're like, oh my God, I've been taking like 20 trades a day. Now times 20. Gosh, I need a whole weekend to do that.
Yeah.
And then you, of course, don't
Yeah.
want to do that because it's this humongous task that you will be procrastinating about.
Yeah, that snowball, which is what procrastination could be associated with, is a tiny little snowball. If you roll that bad boy down the hill, oof,
Absolutely.
you're gonna you're gonna end up with a
Yeah.
giant wrecking ball coming down the hill.
Yeah. So it depends how good you are in your procrastination or management of
Yeah.
your procrastination. I would say chunk it as small as you can.
Yes.
If you can evaluate your trades after every single trade, that's great
Good.
because then at the end of the day, you're done, right?
Yeah.
You can just close your platform and say, hey, you know what? I actually have all the lessons that I needed from today. I already took, right? And then you're done.
Yeah. And again, that's totally different for each individual. When you first had said that question, that was my first answer inside my head. If people were to ask me that, how often should I review my trades? My immediate response was, that is going to all depend on who the individual is and the volume of trading that you're doing and what your process is. If you enjoy trading a week and then on the weekend you like to take a few hours and go, all right, let me just take a reflection time for me, and you do it on a Saturday or whatever it is, it's up to you. That's a very different process from the people that like to go, all right, I exited, entered that trade. I'm not going to trade yet. Let me look at what I did and what I didn't do.
Right.
That's just a simple process of what works for you is honestly the best answer.
And sometimes you might notice that you are consciously talking yourself out of evaluating your trades because you don't want to look at them. So you're postponing it already, making, creating a problem for yourself because later on you have a lot of trades to evaluate. And if you want to avoid looking at what did I do wrong, right? Because it is not about what did you do wrong. If if you say it to yourself this way, then it will automatically become a task that you don't want to do. Because let's face it, it's not pleasant to look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh my God, I made so many mistakes. Especially if you are still in the mindset of beating yourself up and not too much, giving yourself too much compassion and grace. That might not be a pleasant operation, to do.
Oh no, it's definitely not. And the longer you're just piling on procrastination on top of procrastination. Because if you're not even going to look at your trades and you're going to look at it in that way, and you don't want to then say, oh, I did or didn't do things well, now you're putting off the aspect of looking back over your trades and journaling and making sure you're back testing. Then you're even putting off the procrastination side of evaluating your own self and looking at yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility. So now you're procrastinating not only your journaling, your responsibility. And then that boils into, if you don't take responsibility, then you can't take accountability for you to get better. So that procrastination just is a wrecking ball. And the quicker you can just create action and create momentum into doing something that you really want to do, then you will experience far less procrastination. It's probably going to be impossible to say that you're never going to procrastinate. That's difficult because we're all humans. I mean, we do it, but the amount of lessening it is huge.
Yeah. The one thing that I hear a lot is that when people procrastinate, they start feeling really bad about themselves, and they tell themselves that they're probably, I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, and they call themselves names. And how I see procrastination is not so much as a sign to, to beat yourself up or a sign that there is something wrong with you, but more as a signal. It is like with everything, our body, our system is built to protect us. So
Hmm.
procrastination could be kind of a protection mechanism and a sign that you are trying to protect yourself from discomfort or fear
Yeah.
because there might be something in the task that you are not looking forward to. So you are using procrastination, that mechanism, to protect yourself from looking at those traits that you don't want to look at,
Great,
right?
great, great point. Great point. Yeah.
So it is not a way and a reason to think, oh my God, I'm lazy, or maybe I don't care enough about trading and how am I ever going to
Hmm.
make it? But more, well, maybe I'm protecting myself from doing the task because it just feels so overwhelming to me at this moment
Hmm.
that I am just pushing it away. And then this comes back to chunking the task into manageable steps so that
Agreed.
you really feel like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. It's hugely important. And that's just not only even from trading. I mean, I'll pivot a tiny bit into just life, that no matter what it is you choose to do, you're gonna find a place of exhaustion. And that's going to be different than your procrastination, where no matter what it is you do in life, everything runs its course. And if you keep putting something off and putting something off and putting something off, you're just piling up the stress and the anxiety and the fear about something that you either love or hate.
Right.
So if you do continue to create action in the things that you really want to do, like trading, you will become far more confident and agile when those positions start to create of, oh boy, I don't know if I really want to do this right now. Oh boy, I shouldn't. I'm just so tired. All right, let me just do one thing. Let me do the right thing right now. Let me do one, and that will go. All right, I can do this. I'm good.
Yeah,
And that's in life and in trading, because it's just vitally important for you to continue to reinvigorate yourself with the things that you love and be aware of the things that you are avoiding. And that's a different subset of procrastination rather than exhaustion.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, and to do that is take the task, take this big thing that you have been procrastinating about, and just sit down for 3 minutes and
Yeah.
write it down, just chunk it down into smaller steps. So then you will see, like, oh, you know what? I actually can do the step 1 and 5 right now. It's going to
Hmm.
take me no time and no effort. I can quickly do it. And then you will feel like, okay, I already started progress on this task that I have been procrastinating about. And you will feel good about yourself, that to start with. So you will start creating that positive momentum. And speaking of action lists, how are you? Do you keep action lists, like, like bullet points or however you do it? This is my to-do list. Do
Oh,
you
to do
keep
list.
that? Yes.
Um, I have certain things, and there are certain things that I know that I'm not good at. And once you become self-aware of what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, usually my to-do list are my weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's certain things like, um, like, like one of the weaknesses that I currently do is car. So I don't really care so much about cars. I used to way back in the day, but I've recognized totally different. So now, like, my procrastination is like, I need to get my oil changed, and I need to get an inspection done, and I need to get new tires, and I need to clean out my car. So just I know car is a weakness of mine, so I will create a to-do list, but creates of, you need this, this, and this. That's just one example of things that I know I need to get done, because I know that that weakness will just continue to pile up and continue to pile up unless I do something about it. And if I make it visual to me, I can say, okay, I can take, 10 minutes right now, and I can, drive across the street, and I can go get an oil change. All right, do the right thing. Just go do it. And I can check it off the list. So yes, usually my to-do lists are centered more toward my weaknesses to make sure that I get them done.
That's awesome. I love to-do lists. I love to-do lists because they give me something tangible that I can check off that I have done
Oh, there
something.
you go. Yeah.
And I have so many ideas usually and so many things to do. I always, I keep myself relatively busy, you can say. So
Yes.
I have a lot of to-do lists. I have a lot of different apps trying to, help me manage my time. And there is something satisfactory about checking off the box for me personally.
Sure, sure.
I have different grades of my or priorities of my to-do list. So there is like nice to have, must happen. That there are
Yeah.
different grades because otherwise there would be just like one long list and I would get completely lost.
Sure, sure. Makes
What
sense.
I,
Well done.
that is one reason why I also do that is because it takes that mental load out of my head.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Once I put it on the list, I don't have to think about it that it has to be done. It's on the list. And the funny thing is that a lot of items on those lists, they just happen and sometimes they resolve themselves naturally
Yeah.
and they don't have to be done. And I will make my list and then a few days later I will go through my list and I'm like, "Oh, and this is done and this is done and this is done." So it is not so much as to like, oh, and I have to push myself to do those things, but more to focus my attention on certain directions. So
Yeah.
the moment that I start making my list, it already feels like I am more organized and that I know the direction that I'm going, and I'm sort of filtering all the distractions away from my attention so that my mind is somewhere subconsciously thinks about that list. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's not like
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah.
walking around and it's like, oh, and this is on my list and this is on my list. No, I don't do that. I have my
Yeah.
list in front of me. I use my phone and sometimes I get alerts and stuff. But just because I make the list, it's somewhere in my mind and
Yeah.
I just go ahead and do the things that I need to do. And yes, there are those tasks where I'm like, oh, I still need to do that. Let me reschedule it. So I don't
Yes.
take it off the list. I reschedule it, but I'm also very good at working against the deadlines.
Yeah.
So I never worry because if I have a deadline, I know I will do that. And then that deadline is for me a motivation. So I would set artificial deadlines for myself. That's another strategy I have.
Yeah.
Even if something has no deadline, I will set a deadline for it.
There you go. Hey, listen, if that creates that will and that want to get it done, then that's what works for you.
Yeah, yeah. And last thing that really made a huge difference for me, I used to be incredible perfectionist. If you ask my husband, he still thinks I'm perfectionist. I think in terms of where I was and where I am now, it's a huge progress. I stopped going for perfection, progress, not perfection. And this is what really
Hmm.
helps me to get things off my list. Start before you're ready.
Hmm.
That type of philosophy. Do you ever procrastinate because you feel like, oh, I am not ready yet to do this, or I'm not ready yet to speak to that person. I have to like prepare myself, and so it's perfect. Do you ever have that?
Oh God, yeah. I used to suffer from that badly in one in my career. I mean, from the very early on when I was in IT, I would struggle vastly with the ideas and concepts of being like, okay, I need to order a new server and I need to put that new server into the whole stack. And I'd be like, "Oh, I can't, I'm not, I'm not, I shouldn't do it. I can't, I won't be able to do that. I know I can't be able to do that." And that would just create a whole bunch of stress and anxiety because I procrastinated on putting out what I needed to do because I felt like I wasn't ready to do it. And those aspects just pile up so drastically quick. And then I started to finally recognize that what it was that I was putting off was the exact thing that I needed to face. And that was in a career wise. And then once I took that outside of the career of, okay, if I'm struggling with networking or I'm struggling with, data compression, whatever it was, I needed to focus on that. And then I took that into life. And that's when I started to say, okay, I can do this. I've taught myself. I know I can do it. I've got the blueprint. I know I made it through doing it this way. Keep pushing forward. Just whatever it is that's in front of you, even if you struggle with it, that's better than putting it off because you're already making progress. So I struggled with that a lot, and I had to learn. I had to learn a blueprint to get out of it.
So part of the self-confidence, self-trust, and also allowing yourself to make mistakes, right? To not be perfect,
Yeah.
and allowing yourself that yes, things might go wrong. And I think in trading, that's a big part of why
Yes.
people procrastinate. Yes, I know I need to backtest, but I don't know how to do it. Well, that's kind of an excuse, right? Because if you don't know how to do
Sure.
it, well, find out how to do
You can
it.
find it. You can find out. I mean, I'm going to put you guys on the spot if you're listening right now. If you're going to
Yes,
say you can't find, you can actually find out how to do it. So
yes.
that excuse might not hold a whole lot of weight if we're chatting face to face.
Right, right. And things like well, journaling. I am not good at writing. Well, you don't have to be good at writing because this is a typical example of like I'm afraid to do it wrong or I'm not perfect, I'm
Hmm.
not good enough. And like, well, you're not supposed to be a writer, you want to be a trader, but
Hmm.
part of trading is journaling. So just get going. Don't try to make it perfect. Just, as long as you can keep the pen and make signs, it's writing. That's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, it's for you, not for anyone else.
No one's going to
Meditating,
read
same
it.
thing. Yes, exactly. Only you are going to read it, and that's the whole purpose of the journaling. So it's about progress. And as you say, it's like just get started. Just get started because the moment that you get started, you can start actually debunking those beliefs that you have about I am not good at writing. Well,
Hmm.
as long as you can write, you're good at writing. Maybe you are
Yeah.
not a writer that is going to publish a book right now, even though these days anyone publishes a book,
Yeah.
anyone can do it. But just kind of put things in perspective and notice when you are using excuses to
Hmm.
put things to delay things to procrastinate about.
Hmm.
So progress, not perfection, and start with small things. Really, the small commitments will help you build self-trust so that you can actually say, you know what, I said I will do it. And I haven't finished the task, but that wasn't also the idea to finish it all at once. The idea was just to begin. And that will lead to bigger actions over time.
It will, because the more that you begin to just even start, it is what I ended up recognizing as I began this whole process of failing and continuing to challenge myself and focus on the things that I needed to focus on and make sure I put some effort toward into it. I ended up realizing that my my imperfections and what I was trying to do created the perfect environment for me to become who I needed to be. So
Right.
every time that you believe that something needs to be perfect or needs to be set up correctly or needs to be the most incredible, laid out plan, all of those aspects will create cracks and flaws in who you are now. The only way you're ever going to be perfect is by doing anything slowly. You're never going to be perfect doing something quickly. You're never going to be the greatest you possibly can be by leaping into something and going all the way to the top within the first, one day. It's not possible. You're going to create flaws, and that perfection idea will only shatter the ideas and concepts of what you view as success. Your imperfection is the very thing that you need in this moment in order for you to find what it truly means to put off procrastination to get to where you need to be.
So well said. The thing that keeps us from actually getting started and that keeps us in that loop of procrastination and being perfect is our head, right? We are just overthinking things.
Oh, yeah.
Too much overthinking.
Oh,
So
God, yeah.
if you really focus on every single small win that you take, even the fact that you say, you know what? I have been procrastinating on this task for so long, and now at least I chunked it down into small steps. That's a win, which means you have already started.
Mm-hmm.
And this will help you to break that cycle and to break that heavy weight that you have from not starting. So I think realizing also that procrastination is really a natural part of the process, especially if you are used to pushing things back. And if you are used to procrastinate, just know you don't have to get stuck in it. So if you ever hear yourself saying, I am procrastinator, know that this is a label that you have given yourself and that you are now actually
Yes.
labeling yourself on an identity level that, like, if you tell yourself you are procrastinator, you will be procrastinating because you will want to be right.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely. Small actions, take small actions, be compassionate for yourself for the fact that you might not be finishing the task anytime soon, but at least you have started. And this is going to create a lasting change.
No, God, yeah. And before you even, if anyone out there listening has labeled themselves or someone has labeled you a procrastinator, you have to define what procrastination even means to you. Because if in my version of procrastination, it could be 5 minutes. In your version of procrastination, it could be 5 days. So even the idea and concept of saying that you're procrastinating is so arbitrary. All you have to do is just take action. And if you have procrastinated on something for 5 days and you start taking action, you're no longer a procrastinator. If you procrastinate on something for 5 minutes and you start taking action, you're no longer a procrastinator. So this is not something you ever obtain and you wear for the rest of your life like a badge of honor. You continually wear it and shed it. You're never going to be able to consistently do something all the time, every moment of your life. So at some point in time, you will procrastinate. But the only way to get rid of that label is to just do action. And we all do it on many different levels, on many different time frames, which makes us all the same because we all do procrastinate. We just do it at different levels and variations. But you can shed it just by doing something.
That's so good. So the biggest part is change the image of yourself as a procrastinator. Stop calling yourself names. Be compassionate. And instead of using the time of thinking about the task and how big it is and how long is it going to take that 30 seconds maybe, or depending on how long you're thinking about it. Sometimes you might be probably you're thinking longer than 30 seconds. Sometimes I know that people procrastinate longer than the actual task will take them. Take that energy that Greg was talking about and use that. Generate a thought that makes you excited about doing the task, even if it's a thought of, if I do it now, if I just begin, I will feel good about me. Even if it's just that. And then give yourself the opportunity to begin on a task, even if it's just making your to-do list. Then you have already won. And then you can say, hey, this was a small win. I can celebrate that I have taken the first step.
Yes, very, very much so. For everybody out there, no matter what it is you choose to do, you're going to end up having to find and fight for whatever it is. Just because you're fighting with something doesn't mean you're procrastinating on something. And just because you're putting something off doesn't mean you don't love it. But what it does mean is that you have to be able to consistently find some sort of effort and energy and thought process to put you into action. I don't care what action it is. I don't care if it's tiny. I don't care if it's just opening up and looking at a spreadsheet or reading an article. I don't care, and neither should you. All you need to care about is that you are creating the environment that puts you to where you need to be and want to be as you continue on through life. Don't let anyone else label you. You're the only one that can get you out of exactly what you're doing.
So beautiful. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And remember, this is trading is a practice, constant practice, not performance.
Agreed, my friend.
Thank you so much, Greg, for this conversation. I hope for you guys it was enlightening and inspiring. And I hope that you will take 10 minutes after listening to this episode and maybe make your to-do list and approach it different this time.
Agreed.
And let me know. Just you can comment on my social media, and we'll be posting this episode, of course, on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So wherever you are following us, please feel free to comment and let us know, how did it go? Whether you have started on something that you have been procrastinating for a long time, and what was the result?
We appreciate you guys. Fantastic to be back. Hopefully you guys learned something and made life a little bit lighter today.
Thank you everyone for listening, and we will talk to you next time. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what you like about it. Thanks to you, more traders will be able to find me, and together we'll make a bigger impact. So thank you so much. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. And make sure to also check some of the previous shows. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from Ahead Coach. Bye for now.